Nearly 2,000 years ago, the skies above Campania turned dark as a fiery mountain awoke with fury, and the eruption of Mount Vesuvius forever changed the lives of those living in its shadow. Hi and welcome to the second episode of our grand tour of Italy. And today, we journey through history, tracing the scars of that devastating event, from the formidable slopes of the volcano itself to the once thriving cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum, frozen in time. But before we start, we hope that you have watched and enjoy our first episode, where we brought you for a visit of the amazing town of Naples. And in case you have missed it, there is a link to the video in the description below. Our itinerary for today is to set off early in the morning from our hotel, located in Herculano, and for the first leg, we will be driving towards Mount Vesuvius. And then, we will drive to Pompeii and take a full tour of the city. And finally we will come back to Herculano, where we will pay a visit to Herculaneum. So buckle up and let's kick off. And we're starting our adventure driving around Mount Vesuvius, the very mountain that unleashed hell on Pompeii. But from here, it's hard to imagine the destruction as its beauty is deceiving. But, behind every turn, this mountain holds secrets of the past, and we're about to uncover them all. The area around Mount Vesuvius is a stunning yet historically significant region located in southern Italy, near the Bay of Naples. And this area is home to lush landscapes, charming towns, and some of the most important archaeological sites in the world. However, its beauty conceals a more volatile side, and Mount Vesuvius is one of the most dangerous active volcanoes on Earth. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD is one of the most infamous volcanic disasters in history, and it began on August 24th of that year and unfolded over 2 terrifying days. However, it is hard to imagine that there was any eruption here at all. And driving along the mountain roads around Mount Vesuvius today, you'll be treated to some of the most breathtaking views in Italy. And the winding roads offer panoramic vistas of the Bay of Naples, with the shimmering waters stretching out to the horizon, framed by the silhouettes of distant islands like Capri. The landscape is surprisingly green and vibrant, with dense patches of Mediterranean vegetation carpeting the slopes. And pine trees, olive groves, and vineyards thrive in the nutrient-rich volcanic soil, adding a soft green hue to the terrain. And as you climb higher, the air feels cooler, and the vegetation shifts to hardy shrubs and wildflowers, creating a beautiful contrast against the dark, rugged volcanic rock. There is even this amazing souvenir shop along the way, where we stopped by, to try their produces such as their amazing lemon chocolates, their honey as well as their buffalo milk and limoncello. And of course, we had to buy some of their delicious and savory chocolates and their honey, especially. On clear days, you can see for miles, with Naples spreading out below like a patchwork quilt of terracotta rooftops and winding streets, the Tyrrhenian Sea glittering in the sunlight, and the Amalfi Coast stretching southward in the distance. As we make our way towards Pompeii, let me tell you more about the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. In one phrase, it is one of the most infamous volcanic disasters in history. It began on August 24th of that year and unfolded over 2 terrifying days. And the eruption sent a massive column of volcanic ash, pumice, and gases high into the sky, which then rained down on the surrounding areas, particularly the thriving Roman cities of Pompeii, Herculaneum, Oplontis, and Stabiane. We are now about to visit one of the cities that was completely ravaged by the volcanic eruption. And Pompeii, although bustling with tourists, is a city silent with history. Before the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius, Pompeii was a thriving Roman city, full of life and culture. And situated near the Bay of Naples, the city had a strategic location that made it a bustling hub for trade and agriculture. Pompeii was well known for its fertile soil, thanks to the volcanic ash from previous eruptions, which made the surrounding region perfect for growing grapes and olives. The city had an estimated population of about 11,000 to 15,000 people and was a vibrant center of Roman life. And Pompeii was a cosmopolitan city, home to wealthy merchants, artisans, farmers, and slaves. We are now entering the ruins of Pompeii via Porta Marina, which is one of the most important and iconic gates of ancient Pompeii, offering a fascinating glimpse into the city's past. Located on the western side of Pompeii, the gate gets its name, Porta Marina, from its proximity to the sea, as it led toward the ancient shoreline of the Bay of Naples. And today, it serves as one of the primary access points for visitors exploring the ruins of Pompeii. Porta Marina was one of the 7 gates in the city walls of Pompeii, and when you walk through Porta Marina today, you are stepping directly into the heart of ancient Pompeii. And just beyond the gate, you'll find yourself on one of Pompeii's main streets, the Via Marina, which leads up toward the Forum, the center of political and social life in the city. We are now in what's left of the Forum of Pompeii. It was a spacious area measuring approximately 157 by 38 meters, and it was designed as a multi-purpose space and was framed on all sides by a colonnaded portico, providing a shaded walkway for people to move around the square. Surrounding the Forum were some of Pompeii's most important buildings, each serving a distinct role in the city's public life. And we will visit a few of them over the course of this video. Like the Basilica, located on the southwest corner, the Temple of Jupiter, which is positioned on the northern end of the Forum, and the Temple of Apollo, which is one of Pompeii's oldest temples, located just west of the Forum. In its prime, the Forum of Pompeii would have been a bustling hub of activity, and citizens of all social classes gathered here to conduct business, worship the gods, discuss politics, or simply socialize. From the Forum, we can also access the Macellum, which was the city's main marketplace, located on the northeast side of the Forum. And let us go there first, because excavations of the Macellum have revealed many fascinating details about Pompeii's commercial life. The open-air courtyard was the heart of the Macellum, where vendors set up stalls to display their goods. And this area would have been crowded with tables full of fresh fish, meats, fruits, vegetables, and other foodstuffs. Shoppers could browse and purchase directly from the sellers. The remains of a circular structure in the center of the courtyard have been identified as a fish market or a fish pool, which was likely used to display live fish for sale. And fresh fish were brought from the nearby coast, and the pool would have kept them alive until they were sold. One of the most striking discoveries within the Macellum is the shrine area, with its well-preserved frescoes and statues. And these decorations offer a glimpse into the religious practices intertwined with daily life in Pompeii. One of the most poignant and memorable aspects of the Macellum are the plaster casts, on display. When the eruption buried Pompeii under layers of ash, many of the people who perished were covered in volcanic debris. And over time, their bodies decomposed, leaving voids in the hardened ash. In the 19th century, archaeologists developed a technique to fill these voids with plaster, capturing the exact positions of the victims at the moment of their death. And these plaster casts reveal incredibly detailed and heartbreaking scenes, people covering their faces in a futile attempt to shield themselves from the ash and gas, others huddling together, and even animals that were caught in the eruption. The level of preservation is extraordinary, and the casts capture expressions of fear, desperation, and resignation. And today, they are displayed in glass cases, positioned where they were originally found, allowing visitors to experience the eerie feeling of standing where these ancient Pompeians once stood. One corner of the Macellum contained a small shrine dedicated to the imperial cult, a practice that honored the Roman emperors as divine figures. In addition to the famous plaster casts, actual human remains have also been discovered in Pompeii, including in the Macellum area. And while many of the bodies were lost to time due to decomposition, some skeletal remains survived and have provided valuable insights into the lives and deaths of the people of Pompeii. Archaeologists have uncovered thousands of human skeletons throughout Pompeii and the surrounding areas. And these remains are often found in positions that reflect the desperation and chaos of the final moments during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. We are now making our way towards one of the largest houses in the city. And notice how Pompeii's streets were made of large, irregularly shaped stones that created a durable and stable surface for both foot traffic and wheeled carts. Pompeii's streets functioned as open sores, a common practice in ancient cities. And wastewater from homes, shops, and baths, as well as rainwater, flowed down the streets, which were designed with a slight gradient to channel water toward the center and away from the buildings. The Casa del Fauno is one of the most magnificent and well-preserved aristocratic residences in Pompeii. And named after a bronze statue of a dancing faun found within its grounds, the house exemplifies the grandeur and luxury of Roman elite life before the city was buried by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Built in the 2nd century BC, it is one of the largest and most impressive houses in Pompeii, occupying an entire city block, nearly 3,000 square meters. And it reflects the wealth and status of its owners, who were likely part of the Roman aristocracy. And the house showcases the architectural and artistic achievements of Pompeii, blending traditional Italic styles with Hellenistic influences. The house is organized around a series of courtyards, gardens, and rooms, with a carefully designed flow that emphasizes symmetry and grandeur. And it features multiple atriums, peristyles, and exquisite mosaics, like the mosaic of Alexander the Great, considered one of the finest examples of ancient Roman mosaic art. The mosaic is incredibly detailed, capturing the drama and intensity of the battle, with Alexander heroically leading his forces to victory. Visiting the Casa del Fauno today allows you to step back in time and imagine the grandeur of Pompeian life before the eruption. And though much of its original artwork has been moved to museums for preservation, the house itself is remarkably well preserved, with its courtyards, columns, and gardens still intact. Pompeii boasted grand villas with beautiful frescoes and mosaics, public baths, temples, theaters, and marketplaces. And the streets were lined with shops, taverns, and homes, and the city had an advanced water system that included public fountains and baths. We are now inside House of the Vitii, another of Pompeii's most famous and luxurious homes, notable for its well-preserved frescoes and its fascinating history. This grand residence provides a glimpse into the lives of wealthy Pompeians during the 1st century AD, showcasing the opulence and cultural tastes of the city's elite. The casa belonged to two wealthy freedmen, who had gained their fortune through the wine trade. And despite being former slaves, the Vitii brothers rose to significant social and economic status in Pompeii, and their home reflects their newfound wealth and aspirations. The casa is famous for its intricate layout, which features two atriums, a large peristyle garden, and rooms adorned with beautifully preserved frescoes. And these frescoes are some of the most remarkable in Pompeii. They depict a wide variety of scenes, from mythological narratives to everyday life and decorative motifs. One of the most famous frescoes in the house depicts the god Dionysus and the god of fertility, Priapus, who is shown weighing his phallus against a bag of money, a scene meant to symbolize prosperity and fertility. The house also contains a series of erotic frescoes, particularly in one of the smaller rooms near the garden. And these images were common in Pompeian houses and were often intended to reflect the owner's virility and connection to the god of wine and revelry. The residential quarters of the house include several bedrooms and a formal dining room. And these rooms are richly decorated with frescoes that reflect both the cultural tastes and social ambitions of the brothers. Beyond the atrium is the large peristyle garden, which is one of the most stunning features of the house, and it is surrounded by a colonnade and contains statues, fountains, and lush greenery. Today, the casa stands as one of Pompeii's most visited sites, providing a window into the luxurious and artistic world of the city's wealthy elite. And the house was recently restored and reopened to the public after years of careful preservation efforts, allowing visitors to see the remarkable frescoes and architecture in greater detail. Pompeii was also a city of leisure, with amphitheaters hosting gladiatorial contests, and people gathering in the many restaurants and bars, which offered everything from fine wines to simple meals. And the wealthier citizens had luxurious homes with courtyards, gardens, and elaborate frescoes that depicted scenes from mythology and daily life. But on the morning of August 24, 79 AD, everything changed for Pompeii. Without warning, Mount Vesuvius erupted, sending a massive column of volcanic ash and pumice into the sky. And for over 18 hours, ash rained down on the city, causing roofs to collapse and trapping people in their homes. Many of the citizens tried to flee, but others sought shelter, not realizing the full extent of the danger. And as the eruption intensified, pyroclastic surges, which are deadly clouds of superheated gas and volcanic material, raced down the slopes of the volcano, reaching speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. These surges buried Pompeii under 4 to 6 meters of ash and pumice, preserving the city exactly as it was at the moment of destruction. And most of the residents who hadn't escaped were killed by the intense heat or suffocated by the ash. Pompeii, along with the nearby towns, like Herculaneum, disappeared from history, buried and forgotten for over 1,500 years. And the cities were gradually covered by vegetation and sediment, remaining hidden until their rediscovery in the 18th century. Today, Pompeii stands as one of the most extraordinary archaeological sites in the world. And the eruption that destroyed the city also preserved it in remarkable detail, giving us a unique snapshot of Roman life. And excavations that began in the mid-1700s revealed entire streets, homes, and public buildings almost frozen in time. Walking through Pompeii today, you can still see the stone streets worn down by ancient carts, the impressive amphitheater, and the remains of lavish villas. And the frescoes, mosaics, and graffiti offer a window into the daily lives, beliefs, and even humor of the Pompeians. The plaster casts of the victims, created by filling the voids left by decomposed bodies in the ash, are haunting reminders of the tragedy, capturing people in their final moments. The Amphitheater of Pompeii is one of the oldest and best-preserved amphitheaters in the Roman world, and built around 70 BC, this impressive structure predates even the Colosseum in Rome by over a century. The amphitheater is located in the southeastern corner of Pompeii, away from the bustling center of the city, and it was designed to host gladiatorial games, animal hunts, and other forms of public entertainment that were highly popular in Roman society. Furthermore, the elliptical structure could accommodate around 20,000 spectators, a testament to the size and importance of the city at its peak. The amphitheater was divided into different seating sections, much like modern stadiums, with the best seats reserved for the elite and the wealthiest citizens. And the seats were arranged in 3 distinct tiers, with the lowest tier, which was closest to the arena and reserved for the elite, and middle tier, for the general population, and the upper tier, for the lower classes and women. And this tiered seating system reflected the social hierarchy of Roman society. The amphitheater had a series of entrances and exits called vomitoria, which allowed for the quick and efficient movement of crowds. And this feature was essential for managing large numbers of spectators, ensuring that they could enter and exit the structure without congestion. Located in the northeastern part of Pompeii, near the Forum, the Palestra Grande is one of the largest gymnasiums of its kind in the Roman world. And it was built in the 2nd century BC and expanded and renovated over the centuries. And the complex covers an area of about 3,700 square meters, emphasizing its significance and scale. The centerpiece of the Palestra Grande is a vast open courtyard, known as the Palestra, surrounded by a covered colonnade. And this area was used for various athletic activities, including running, wrestling, and ball games. The Palestra hosts the permanent exhibition of the grand frescoes and artifacts found in the complex of the Regina Tricliar, a distinguished building situated about 600 meters away from the site of Pompeii, at the river port. The complex is known for its elaborate frescoes and well-preserved artifacts, which offer a glimpse into the opulence and lifestyle of Pompeii's wealthy elite. The artifacts found, including pottery, sculptures, and household items, provide valuable information about the daily life and social practices of Pompeii's elite. And these objects highlight the sophistication and wealth of the city's upper classes. The frescoes are renowned for their vivid colors and intricate designs, and they depict a range of scenes, including mythological narratives, daily life, and ornamental patterns. The plaster casts can be seen in various locations around the Pompei archaeological site, particularly in the Garden of the Fugitives and the Museum of Pompeii. They are an essential part of the experience of visiting Pompeii, offering a unique and profound perspective on one of history's most catastrophic events. Many of the casts are in distressing poses, showing people trying to escape or protect themselves. One of the most famous casts here is that of a couple embracing in their final moments, which powerfully illustrates their emotional bond during the disaster. Today, Pompeii stands as one of the most extraordinary archaeological sites in the world. And Pompeii has become a UNESCO World Heritage Site and attracts millions of visitors every year. And the ruins stretch over 170 acres, and though much of the city has been uncovered, parts remain unexcavated, leaving future discoveries to be made. The Archaeological Park of Pompeii is part of Italy's Ministry of Culture and operates with special autonomy to manage and promote the Pompeii archaeological site. Its responsibilities include overseeing the preservation and public access to Pompeii itself, as well as other sites and museums. The park is dedicated to the preservation, conservation, and promotion of these historical and cultural sites. Before visiting the Archaeological Park of Pompeii, we highly recommend that you first download a map of the plan of the excavations of Pompeii. And this map can be downloaded freely from the Archaeological Park of Pompeii website. To visit Pompeii, you can use several routes and entrances, with three main ones being the most commonly used. And they are Porta Marina Superior, which is located near the Forum area and the central part of the site, and is also one of the main entrances, close to major landmarks like the Forum and the Basilica. The Porta Marina Inferior, the second entrance, is situated near the marina area, giving access to the southern part of the site. And it's near the ancient city walls and provides direct access to some of the key areas of Pompeii. Finally, Porta Stabiane is found on the eastern side of the site. And this entrance is closer to the suburbs of Pompeii and provides access to the eastern parts of the city. Some tips if you plan to visit Pompeii are to buy your tickets in advance to avoid long lines, especially during peak tourist seasons, and do consider booking a guided tour or audio guide to enrich your visit with historical context and detailed explanations. There is just so much to see, and you will easily feel overwhelmed if you do not have an itinerary planned. And this is the Stabiane Baths, one of the most significant and well-preserved ancient public bathhouses in Pompeii. The baths were originally constructed in the 2nd century BCE and later renovated in the 1st century CE, and the entrance leads to a small vestibule where visitors would initially prepare for bathing. The bathing areas consist of the cold room with a cold plunge pool, used for cooling down and refreshing the body after the hot baths. There is the warm room with a heated floor and walls, designed for a gentle, warm bath and relaxation. And finally there is the hot room with a hot bath and steam, providing a hotter and more intense bathing experience. This is the ruins of the Basilica of Pompeii, and it is situated in the Forum, and was built around 120 to 100 BCE. The basilica is a large rectangular building with a length of about 80 meters and a width of about 30 meters, divided into a central nave with two side aisles. And it is supported by a series of columns that create a colonnaded effect. The basilica was central to the civic life of Pompeii, reflecting the importance of public buildings in Roman towns. It was a hub for legal and commercial activities. The Sanctuary of Apollo is also situated in the Forum area, and was originally established in the 6th century BCE. The sanctuary includes a large temple dedicated to Apollo, and in front of the temple, there is a large altar used for sacrifices and offerings to Apollo. This area was central to the religious practices conducted at the sanctuary. There is also the Temple of Venus located in the Forum area, and the temple has a rectangular plan, typical of Roman temples, with a front portico and a cella where the statue of Venus was housed. And the facade of the temple features a row of Corinthian columns, providing a grand entrance and an impressive visual effect. Daedalo by Igor Mitaraj is a striking contemporary sculpture installed at the ancient site of Pompeii. The sculpture represents the mythological figure in a fragmented and abstracted form, and the contrast between the modern sculpture and the ancient ruins highlights the timeless nature of art and mythology. And finally, the Antiquarium of Pompeii is a museum dedicated to showcasing the archaeological finds from the Pompeii site, including artifacts, sculptures, and everyday items that provide insights into life in the ancient city before and after the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. We left Pompeii and we are now back in Herculano, and we are slowly making our way towards our last stop of today. Herculaneum, like Pompeii, was an ancient Roman town destroyed and buried by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. And it is located near modern-day Herculano, about 20 kilometers southeast of Naples. The town was buried under a thick blanket of volcanic ash and pyroclastic material during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, preserving many of its buildings and artifacts. Unlike Pompeii, which was buried under ash, Herculaneum was covered by a more substantial layer of volcanic material, which led to better preservation of organic materials like wooden structures, furniture, and even food items. Herculaneum offers a unique glimpse into Roman life due to the preservation of these organic materials, providing valuable insights into daily activities, architecture, and art. The site was rediscovered in the early 18th century, and excavations have revealed well-preserved buildings, streets, and artifacts. We are making our way there, but first I have to mention these amazing white flowering plants that can be found along the pavements, including jasmine, gardenias, and oleanders. And these flowers add elegance and a fresh scent to the surroundings. The combination of vibrant bougainvillea and delicate white flowers creates a stunning contrast against the ancient stonework of the ruins. The greenery of the trees adds depth and a sense of tranquility to the historical setting. From this viewpoint you can get a bird's-eye view of the excavations at Herculaneum. And Herculaneum features numerous well-preserved houses and villas, including the House of the Deer and the House of the Mosaic Atrium. And these buildings often contain elaborate frescoes, mosaics, and architectural features. Let us walk towards the main entrance, which is located nearby, and is easily accessible on foot. Ongoing work and excavations at Herculaneum continue, and new discoveries are frequently made, shedding light on the ancient town and its inhabitants. Herculaneum is a smaller, yet wealthier town that suffered a similar fate to Pompeii. Yet, here, the preservation is almost eerie, with wooden doors, beams, even ancient food, all preserved by the volcanic ash. And it's as if the people there just simply vanished. The town includes several well-preserved public baths, such as the Stabiane baths, a theatre and a palestra, highlighting the town's cultural and recreational activities. And the site has produced a wealth of everyday objects, including pottery, tools, and food remains, which help to reconstruct daily life in the town. So what do we take away from today? Well, these cities were lost, yet they've given us so much, with a glimpse into ancient life, and a stark reminder of nature's power. And Pompeii and Herculaneum may have been frozen in time, but their stories continue to live on, all through us. In this episode, we've journeyed through the captivating remnants of Herculaneum, explored the intricate details of Pompeii, and marveled at the natural beauty surrounding Mount Vesuvius. And from the haunting plaster casts of those who perished in the eruption to the lush, fragrant bougainvillea lining ancient pavements, we've witnessed the convergence of history and nature. As we wrap up our exploration, remember that these ancient cities not only tell the story of a devastating eruption but also offer a vivid glimpse into the lives of their inhabitants. Conservation efforts are in place to protect and preserve these sites, including stabilization of structures and careful excavation practices. Thank you for joining us on this adventure, and stay tuned as we continue our journey through Italy's rich historical tapestry. And see you soon.